What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Miss Cat, your coach, accountability partner, and teacher. And man, we here with yet another episode of Both Sides of the Check. I'm super excited because, guys, let me tell you, I almost didn't make it. You feel me? This was my first episode that I was late to the set, but Sean, she held me down. My girl held me down.
Held it down. And I'm your girl, LaShonda Dawn, checking in, and we are here with so much to give you guys today. So
yes,
let's just jump right in.
Yes, and we definitely have another guest because I know y'all looking like, who is that? This is our third episode with our guest, so we're super excited. And so yeah, we're gonna dive right in. So who? You know what? Because I don't like to introduce people. I like them to introduce themselves just in case I say their business name wrong, their name wrong. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and introduce yourself to the people that's watching.
I am Shalimar Banks. I am the owner of Elite Tax Software and also a mentorship program called Service Bureau Circle and ERO University.
Okay, girl. Okay. So for those that don't know, because you're talking in some layman, that ain't even layman. That's like foreign terms to some people. Service Bureau Software. I guess for those that are not in the industry, what does that mean?
So I am a mentor for tax professionals who are looking to open a tax office and also grow a tax office. And then also who's want to step on the side of tax software and also become a service bureau, which is basically selling tax software to tax professionals.
Awesome.
That sounds interesting. That sounds really interesting. And I mean, in you telling us so much about yourself in such a short time, like, how long have you been doing that?
I have been mentoring going on 3 years.
Okay.
So is it safe to say that you've been full-time entrepreneur for those 3 years? Or I guess tell us about the journey from stepping into entrepreneurship.
So I've been an entrepreneur full-time since 2021.
Okay.
When I decided to fully go all in as a tax professional. I had a tax office, Shalimar Tax Service. This year, I decided to close my tax office to fully focus on mentoring tax professionals and then also mentoring those who wanted to get into tax software industry.
Awesome.
Okay. And you said you closed down a storefront, so to speak.
It was virtual. So everything I did is purely virtual. So I decided to just take a step back and say, I want to just step in my role fully as a entrepreneur for mentoring tax professionals.
Okay. So prior to being a full-time entrepreneur, what is it that you were doing?
I was in corporate America. So I worked in various different corporate jobs for a long time, probably since I want to say about 21 when I first stepped into the corporate world. And I was there for a long time I used to bounce around corporate jobs to corporate jobs. And I was like, I'm tired of this. I couldn't stay still for 2 years ever. So I was just like, something got to give.
Okay. So is it safe to say that it was something inside of you that kind of, I won't say yearning for lack of better terms, but did you always feel inside of you that you was meant to be your own boss?
I did. I always knew that I was going to have my own business. It's like, I don't know how it was going to start. I didn't know where I was going to start it because I used to do taxes for individuals before I did it professionally since I was 18. So I was just doing it, for my friends, family, not really taking it professional because I always had a job, quote unquote, that I had to rely on, not solely relying on myself and my work ethic for my own business to really produce income.
For sure. For sure. And I know what that's like because of course we in the same, industry. And so with that being said, what made you, I know that you said it was something inside of you that was like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be a boss, but what was it like actually making that step from bouncing around from corporate to actually becoming a full-time entrepreneur? Tell us about that journey.
So when I originally started, crazy part, I used to have a hair oil company. That was actually my first real business before the tax business. Even though I had new taxes, I started my company as a Shalimar Cole because that's my middle name. And I had a hair oil company. Okay. And I was just like, this is not, it's cool. I learned how to make hair oil. It actually worked. But I had no passion really behind it. So I was just doing something at that point. And at that point, I had to take a step back and realize, what have I been doing all this time that I could just do this professionally. And that was taxes. In 2021, I decided to just go all in and actually start a virtual tax office, get the mentorship, get the knowledge outside of me just checking the IRS website like I was doing prior, and get the professional tax software and just fully go all in. Like, I really took a lot of time to study like the fundamentals more than beyond what I knew initially. And I think the more part of that, what pushed me to do that was my grandmother passed in that year. So I was just like, you know what? I can't let her. She supported my hair oil company. She was my first buyer. And I was just like, I can't let her legacy ends in what is there. I wanted to build her, like when someone think of her or someone think of me, I'm a reflection of her. So that's what made me drive like my power behind, like, you know what, I'm about to go all in. I'm about to invest in myself, invest in knowledge, because that's essentially what you'll need first of all. And so I just started investing in different mentors, coaches, and that's how it sprouted that year.
Here we go.
There you go. And I know that you said you bounced around, from job to job, not staying, but maybe about 2 years or so. But from that 9 to 5, 8 to 5, what do you say would be like your biggest takeaway that helped you to become a good entrepreneur that has kept you afloat, whether it's something that you just said, nah, that makes me know that I'm never going back, or something that has built you up, making you successful as an entrepreneur?
I knew I was never going back to a job again. I just knew it. I'm that person that has crazy faith. So a lot of people, when I used to tell them, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, like, they're just like looking like, okay, like, where your income come from? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fully invest in myself. I'm going to be committed, because a lot of people, when they decide to be entrepreneur, they don't understand this takes hard work. So you get what you put out of it. So if you're not really putting enough in it, don't expect much out of it. So I really went in, like, and I think that where I put my focus, like, to deal with my grief, I just put it all into my business. Okay. And so it spoke for itself, because I have been able to grow my business very, very fast.
And just to piggyback off of that, I think that's a great, perspective, because sometimes when there is no plan B, you get what I'm saying? I think that's when it just you really can thrive. Like, no, this is what it is. There ain't no plan B. There, balls to the walls, right? For the lack of better term. So would you say fight or flight? That's kind of what it was.
And that's really what you have to do. Like, I am a strong, like, believer. Like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. There's no reason why there's other people are successful in whatever they're doing, and I can't be successful in whatever I'm doing. And so I'm a strong believer, and so I just put it all in to myself. I bet on me at that point. And then, of course, I have 5 children. Yeah. So outside of that, I'm like, I'm going to show y'all what it's like to turn something into nothing. And they have literally watched me every step of the way.
Okay. I love that.
Okay. I definitely want to commend you, for just stepping out on faith and, just making it happen for yourself, because it's not easy, like you said, which brings us to our next segment of non-sufficient funds. Like, really, that when you're doing checks, when you're writing checks, so to speak, you're gonna have some checks that just don't meet up. And when I say that, I mean, like, what is a check that you can talk about that was like a risk for you, so to speak? Like, what check have you written that's been a risk for you?
I made some bad investments into people who I feel like, and that's another thing that set me apart in what I truly wanted in my business, because I bought into a lot of fluff. And I'm just going to say that I bought into fluff before, to where you're like, I can't believe I took my money and put into this, and this is what there is. So I was just like, you know what? When I've learned from a lot of people, and that's what I do. I do invest. Like, in my business, a lot of people find it hard to truly, like, invest in themselves. I'm big on investing in myself, because I know eventually these investments going to pay off, but you have to be very wise, because I made some bad choices, bad investments, and I looked at it like, you know what, that was just a learning opportunity. Right. Because before I even fully started my business, like this business, I took a lot of marketing classes, mentorship class for people, not just from a school perspective, but people who had businesses. Like I wanted to learn. I'm looking at systems. I'm a person, I can just watch things. You don't really have to tell me a lot of things because I'm an observer.
Okay.
So I see how they're moving this system, how different, things that are moving around in the background and how that can help me in my business.
Okay. And we've had a couple conversations ourselves, Kat and I, about investing in yourself. Kat offers consulting, and she does a lot of investing in herself, and she does a lot of encouraging others to invest in themselves too. So I think that that's a very good point. That's a very good nugget that you dropped. But all in all, like that's good that you take time out, and not just time but money to learn what's gonna make you a good entrepreneur, because like you said, a lot of us don't. We just don't. We just jump off the cliff and build our wings on the way down. And I mean, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not against it.
And not to cut her off, but that's a good point, because sometimes when you do just jump, like all you can do is just fly. Like all you can do is just soar. So yeah, like you said, sometimes you splat down, right? So with that being said, has there been anything within your business that was a splat that almost could have potentially took you out? Now you still here, so we see that you made it through. But was there anything that may have happened through the course of your journey that almost took you out, and how did you bounce back from it?
I wouldn't say anything I invested in specifically took me out. I would say my own mindset, because that can be the downfall of your business, period. If your mind isn't right, and that's why I teach. Like whenever I teach, the first class is mindset, because I have been diagnosed with severe depression. So I know what it's like to be in your own hole, and you can be the person that's bringing you down. Nobody else is doing it. It's just you. And so when you learn to recognize your triggers and start to isolate and make like, okay, wait, I need to take a step back because something is overwhelming. Something is causing me to feel this way, and be very in tune with yourself. Then that really helped me to, in my business, to start speaking positive over myself. Like, whenever you feel that self-doubt, speak positive affirmations, and that help you, because nothing so far has been a investment to where I'm like, oh, this is it. Like this can really work my business. No, it was me. So a lot of times it was just me.
And was there ever a circumstance that you got so down where you had to like pull yourself back up? Or?
Yeah, I've recently went through, every year so far since my grandmother's passed away, it's like her birthday and then her death anniversary is so close together. It just, actually this month, August 7th. So it just always that time. And so I'm like, you know what, this year, she keeps me busy every year. So this year I was at the IRS tax form. It's like something that keeps me going. And it's like, you know what, I know what it's like when your mindset is poor and you cause yourself to dig yourself in a hole. And I know what it's also like to make sure that you're surrounded by people on the same journey as you, and because that could be uplifting too.
For sure.
Now, Shalomar, you could have been on 2 or 3 other shows that we had, because at this one, you just dropped some real nuggets. We've talked several times about mental health, and I think that that's a good point that you bring up to the viewers and the listeners, that mental health is important, and as an entrepreneur, we don't always take that seriously, or we don't always just like think that that's something that's going to affect us, because you're constantly going, but you do have things that kind of like drown you, or feel like weight is on your shoulders, your back, your chest, all of these things. So I think that that's a really good point that you make when it comes to like mental health, and just finding out what it is that keeps you going, all of your strengths, that it's just been things that you use that may have been negative that you've turned into a positive. So that's a good thing.
Kudos. And if somebody, just from your own perspective, we know that you're not a mental health expert or any of those things, but since you pulled yourself out of that, I mean, you have some knowledge, you have something that you can share. Is there anything, like if somebody is dealing with that, any tips or anything that you may have used to bounce back from those feelings?
And it's a daily struggle, so it's not like I'm recovering, because there's no recovering from that. It's how you deal with it. And me, I'm in the gym. I was at the gym this morning, 2 hours in the gym. And after I left the gym, I, when it got me a smoothie, I started my day. So I put all my energy into working out, because that's not like, I know people do it for health, with this health reasons one, but it's more so for mental health too. Because that's the strongest that you can battle there, is making sure that your mental health together. So I started also doing yoga, doing yoga, and now I just started doing Pilates. Like, a lot of people like, you're doing all this exercise, girl, do you love working out? I found something that mentally makes me happy. And so you have to put yourself first. And so what mentally makes me happy is working out.
Okay, girl. Look,
a lot of people like to say, health is wealth, but like they think of like your body, but it's also your mind too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, that's some good tips.
And that's real, because at the end of the day, if your mind is all over the place, how can you conduct business? You know what I'm saying? So, for those that are watching and that's thinking like, hey, I'm ready to make that leap, y'all need to really take this stuff seriously, because, your mental health, you might have been cool and calm before becoming an entrepreneur, but then when stuff start going to left, you might see a mental space that you never seen before, capacity that you never, was in. So that's definitely,
and it creeps up on you too. Like that part. It's like one day you good, and the next day you might be crashing out. You know what I'm saying? Like, people use this term now, crash out. No, when you become an entrepreneur, you find out quickly
real talk.
how fast you can crash out. And we ain't talking about on some, but no, we're talking about on some people too, because sometimes it's on your clients, but a lot of times it's you versus you, and you can crash out on yourself. You know what I mean? So
that part,
it's a lot. It really is a lot.
And we appreciate you being transparent, you know what I'm saying, and sharing that, because, like I said, I just think that that's helpful for those that are thinking about joining this side of the fence. Like, you have to, and like you said, find something. It may not be the gym, but just something that's going to keep you going, keep you, pumping and sane, so you can conduct business the right way. So with that being said, we are now to our next segment, because this is both sides of the check. We talked about taking an L and an NSF, but let's talk about a deposit, right? So for those that are watching, they may be thinking, is this for me? Or thinking if they want to make that jump, that leap of faith. What kind of deposit can you leave into the viewers?
I believe that as long as you're consistent, whatever you're doing, like for me, I didn't want to do anything like hair oil. I started off doing hair oil. I had no passion behind that, but I found myself, I love teaching. I love teaching others things that I've known that people have no clue about. Like, when you talk about automations, different systems that you can use, business structure, like a lot of people are unfamiliar with it, especially, if they're just brand new starting out. I would say being consistent, like find what you truly want to do, like in your business, or something like people say, something that you could talk about and you don't need no notes, no nothing. You're just going off the brain. And since I had been doing taxes for so long and I was self-taught at first, it didn't until I invested in mentorship, I'm like, man, I could literally just talk about this just experience, knowledge, like, and that's what I believe you should go for. Like, just something that you're passionate about. And I just love teaching others.
Awesome. And it's crazy, because we was
just talking about that. Like, what we were basically explaining to the viewers, that you have to make this about something that you truly love, and not just chasing money, which is passion. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if you had any advice to give, I think it sounds like it's safe to say that you would tell people to go for whatever they're passionate about. Don't just be jumping in stuff, but you need to be passionate about what it is that you're doing. And also, I feel like it needs to be somewhat of a gift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I feel like, honestly, you can make money doing a lot of things. Like, if you just open your eyes, look around the world, people are making money doing so many things. But when you are doing something that you love doing, it's like the money just flow to you easily. Like, it doesn't seem like it's just hard, like, work, even though it's work, but it's like something that you truly enjoy doing. It's not like I'm like when I was going into 9 to 5s, I'm hating it. Like I'm dragging. I'm like not accepting calls. I'm like, ugh, another one, So this is just easy. Like I have a call when I go back home. I have a call set up, so it's like this is stuff I can just get in and pour into people, because a lot of people don't have that. I want to be that source,
Okay.
And just to piggyback off what you're saying, you don't even have to chase the money, because if you're living in your passion, the money gonna come.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, or the thing that people just don't realize. Like, the money will eventually, is that fair to say?
Yeah,
Like,
and it is, because I feel like a lot of people are in other lanes because they see someone else is making money doing that. And if you are in the lane that's designed for you, you're gonna see, wow, these are the doors I was meant to walk in, not that person's, but this is my door right here, and I still make money just like them, but I'm in my own lane.
were you watching the episode before you got on this show?
For real, like,
because I feel like, deja vu. But what I appreciate is now they get to hear it from somebody else and not just us, because I swear that I feel like our audience just think that we just be making this stuff up. So I'm glad that they, hearing it from somebody else. But definitely, walking in your passion, the money will flow. That's just safe to say, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And just to, I think that just going after what truly drives you will just put you in a position to where you a magnet for the money. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it'll just flow. Yeah. So I think that was really, really good. It was so good to have somebody else here, like Kat say, to just
drive these points home,
because we've been talking about this so much, and it just seems like, we needed someone else to come in and not really co-sign, but just let people know that if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, these are the things that you will face. And it's not all the time something that you plan for, but these are the things that you will face.
And that's a great point, because you can plan your location, you can plan how you want to set up your office, you can plan your profit, your loss, you know what I'm saying? But do you plan, what if I lose somebody when I launch my business, and now I have to work through that? What if my husband leave me? What if, you know what I'm saying? Anything can happen.
Anything bad.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I make an investment and it set me back $200,000, guys? You know what I'm saying? And how do I bounce back from that? So I just appreciate you, Shalomar, for just, giving your perspective and in full transparency, because I think that the audience definitely needed to hear that. So for those that want to stay connected with you, they may want to follow you, might want to get you some software, or become one of your mentees. How do we follow you?
The best page is Shalimar Banks. My Facebook page is Shalimar Banks.
Okay.
Spell Shalimar for us.
That's SHALIMAR, last name BANKS.
Like, take her to the bank. Okay, girl. All right. Well, it's definitely been a privilege. Thank you so much for gracing us. I'm Miss Kat, your coach, accountability partner, and teacher.
And I'm LaShawn the Don.
And we're both sides of the check.